The United States has constantly been in the limelight for its insane innovations and the development of advanced weapons that the world has never seen before. But now there has been a significant shift that has garnered a lot of attention and raised intrigued eyebrows across several nations. In the Middle East, Japan has become the talk of the town due to its newly developed aircraft, a fighter jet that is worth billions of United States dollars. This development has not only struck fear in the hearts of its enemies, but has shocked the world in general. It has also given rise to questions like, does this new innovation stand as a force to be reckoned with? Why was this aircraft rejected by the United States? Join us as we delve into the intriguing features of the new Japanese aircraft that shocked the whole world. Ever since the development of advanced and sophisticated weapons was deemed important in order to get the upper hand in conflicts, the mantle of technological development has constantly shifted from the United States to China and even Russia. Interestingly, Japan has also made it into the spotlight for the development of its own fighter that features unrivaled capabilities. The question on everyone's mind is, what is this new development? Well, Japan's new fighter jet got its inspiration from the Northrop YF-23, which is equally an advanced fighter jet that is renowned for its unrivaled features. It was first made as a prototype in the Advanced Tactical Fighter program. This program began in the late 90s with the aim of creating a fighter that could perform several roles, be used in different kinds of missions, and replace old but renowned F-15 and F-16 fighter jets. In its quest for a perfect option or inspiration, the top aviation companies all presented their ideas for Japan's new jet. But Northrop's design caught their attention, and they decided to make something similar but even better. This YF-23 aircraft was expected to take the place of the revered F-15 and F-16 jets. It simply means that the YF-23 must surpass them in terms of capabilities, speed, and effectiveness. Let us have a look at some of the features of these old fighters and decide if the YF-23 is really up to the task, or if it's a great inspiration for the Japanese. The General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon is a fast and versatile American fighter plane. It was first made by General Dynamics for the United States Air Force and was designed to be really good at fighting in the air during the day. Over 400 of these planes have been built since 1976. In 1993, General Dynamics sold the part of their company that was in charge of making aircraft to Lockheed Corporation, and after the merger with Martin Marietta in 1995, it successfully became a part of Lockheed Martin. This fighter boasts some really interesting features, like a canopy without a frame, which serves to help the pilot have better vision, a control stick on the side to make the jet easier to maneuver, and a seat that is comfortable and designed to reduce the force on the pilot during quick movement. In addition to the comfortable feature in the cockpit, there is also a special flight control system that makes it very agile. Maintaining its stealth ability, the fighter has 11 different places that can be used to store extra things like weapons and ammunition inside the cannon. Another intriguing specification of the F-16 is that it was made to be less expensive to build and easier to maintain when compared to the older fighters before it. The frame of the jet is made up of special types of metals like aluminum, steel, composites, and titanium. The parts, like the flaps, stabilizer, and fins, use string structures made of bonded aluminum honeycomb and coated with graphite epoxy lamination. Unlike older aircraft, it has fewer points that need lubrication, fuel connections, and parts that might need to be replaced. Interestingly, over 80% of the access panels can be reached without using stands. Despite the original flight hours of this jet being designed to last for over 40 hours and handle 7.33 grams with 80% internal fuel, the developers decided to make its frame last for 8 hours instead and designed it to handle a 9-gram maneuvers with full internal fuel. This decision turned out to be the best when the jet used changed from just air-to-air combat to handling different missions. as the aircraft for more systems and weight along the line. Strengthening programs were needed to keep it strong, efficient, and reliable. F-15. Eagle, on the other hand, is a powerful American fighter jet that is equipped with two engines. In 1969, the United States Air Force chose the design after selecting from several. The Eagle, as it is popularly called, took its first flight in July 1972, and it became fully operational in 1976. This aircraft is considered one of the most successful and efficient modern fighters after having more than 100 wins in air combat and no losses recorded. Most of these victories were achieved by the Israeli Air Force. Another unique fact concerning the Eagle is that, even though it was made specially for air battles, it also had features that made it useful for ground attacks. Because of its flexibility, a better version called the F-15 Strike Eagle was created for an all-weather attack from 1989. This version was then sold out to other countries, where the different variants were made over time. The United States Air Force planned to replace all their original air superiority F-15s with the F-22 Raptor by 2010, but unfortunately, they could not get enough of the F-22, so they had to keep using the Strike Eagle II, the FF-15EX, which is planned to remain in service with the U.S. Air Force until the 2030s. Many countries make the F-15, and there are still new and improved versions being developed. It operates on two Pratt and Whitney F-100 with afterburners. The engines are put next to each other in the aircraft's body and get air through rectangular openings with adequate intake ramps. The pilot's seat is high in the front part of the jet, with a big windshield and a large canopy similar to the one found in the F-16. This feature helps the pilot see better. Also, the frame of the plane was made using advanced superplastically formed titanium parts in the 1980s. Are there other features that make the F-15 unique? Absolutely. The jet can make a tight turn without the need to slow down because it has a low weight-to-wind ratio. It can also go up to 30,000 feet in about 60 seconds. When it's flying at a particular speed, the engines can produce more thrust than the weight and the air resistance combined, which allows the jet to fly really fast. The weapons and controls are made so that one person can handle air-to-air combat well. Deviating from the normal design, the A and C models have one seat and are mainly used for air superiority, while the B and D models have a second seat for training. The E model uses the second seat found in the cockpit for someone who's in charge of handling the weapon system. Unlike many other modern fighters, this aircraft does have the typical aerodynamic exhaust pedals covering the engine nozzles. This is because there were problems with them during the development, like coming off during flight so that they would be removed even though it would increase the aerodynamic drag by 3%. The fighter jet once flew with only one wing after an Israeli F-15D had a mid-air collision with an A-4 Skyhawk in 1983 during the Negev mid-air collision. Most of the right wing was gone, but the pilot, Zvi Nadivi, used full afterburner and landed twice as fast as normal at Ramon Air Base, successfully. Wind tunnel tests on a model with one wing showed that controlled flight was possible only within a small speed range and angle of attack. This event led to research on technology that can adapt to damage and a system called Intelligent Flight Control System. Now that we have an idea of what the Japanese aircraft is up against, let's go into the features and design of the aircraft and confirm if it truly surpasses the F-15 and F-16 in terms of capability and advancement. As mentioned earlier, the Japanese aircraft was inspired by the YF-23's development, so it's only normal that we take a look at the features of this jet to get a better picture of what the Japanese Mitsubishi F-3 might be like. The YF-23 fighter was designed with stealth technology as a main idea. The shape of the plane is made in such a way that radar beams bounce away, making it hard to detect. The plane also goes really fast, up to 1,093 miles per hour, and can move really well. It has a unique wing shape called the flowing wing, which helps it not stand out easily. Additionally, it has a super advanced system with some parts using artificial intelligence. The YF-23, also known as DP-117K, is a unique-looking plane. It has diamond-shaped wings, a shape that helped reduce air resistance at high speeds, and a V-shaped tail that could move in all directions. The cockpit was high up, near the front, for the pilot to see well. The jet had 3 wheels for landing, with 1 in the front and 2 at the back. The place where the weapons are kept on the fighter is under the fuselages between the front and back wheels. Also, it is powered by 2 turbofan engines, each of which can be found in a separate part of the plane's spine with special ducts to protect the engines from radar waves. The front side of the engine has trapezoid inlets with special panels to absorb turbulence and direct it over the winds. Well, there were 2 YF-23 fighters that were built, and the first one, also referred to as PAV-1, had Pratt & Whitney YF-119 engines, while the second, PAV-2, was powered by General Electric YF-120 engines. The aircraft generally makes use of a single explanation ramp nozzle and doesn't use thrust vectoring like the YF-22. The exhaust from the engines went through troughs with cooled tiles to release heat and make the engine invisible from infrared homing missiles that are positioned below it. Its engines and aerodynamics allow it to fly really fast at a speed of 1.6 without using afterburners. Its computer system controlled how the plane moved in the air. To make the jet roll or tilt to the side, the computer lifted the flaps and ailerons on one side while lowering them on the other. The V-shaped tail fins were tilted at a 50-degree angle from upright. To make the plane go up or down, the computer turned the tail fins in different directions. Turning the tail fins in the same direction made the plane turn sideways. According to test pilot Paul Metz, the fighter jet could handle high angles of attack really well, even up to 60 degrees. If the computer lowered the wing flaps and raised the ailerons on both sides at the same time, it helped slow down the plane in the air. To save money while building the prototype, some parts from other planes like the F-15 and FA-18 were used. With all these features, it should have been the perfect inspiration for any fighter jet. But that didn't happen. This is because Lockheed Martin developed a model of the renowned F-22 Raptor. Both fighters met all the performance requirements. The YF-23 was practically invisible and could be extremely fast, and the Lockheed fighter could undergo tight maneuvers. Despite the technical superiority of the YF-22, the United States selected the F-22 Raptor as their main fighter. However, despite the rejection of this fighter, which possesses intriguing capabilities, one nation worked towards reviving it, making it better than before, and designing it with advanced features that even the United States did not foresee. Let us move on to how Japan came into all of this. At a time when the United States banned the sale of the F-22 Raptor to protect its advanced technology, including its stealth capabilities, Japan was unable to purchase the F-22. This resulted in them thinking about producing their own formidable fighter jet. At the same time, the FX program was initiated, with an estimated value of more than $45 billion. Definitely, building an advanced fighter comes at a price. Making their thoughts materialize, in October 2020, Mitsubishi was awarded the right to develop a new fighter jet. Instead of doing everything from scratch, the developers decided to buy out a project that was rejected by another country. Guess what? It happened that the project was the YF-23, and it was used to create the latest Japanese fighter jet. Let's dive into how Japan transformed this rejected fighter into something that has struck fear and admiration in the hearts of many. The Mitsubishi F-3 is a 6th-generation fighter jet designed to gain air superiority. For this purpose, Japanese experts incorporated the most promising technologies, including the possibility of deploying a combat laser or electromagnetic weapons. This helped to make the aircraft the most dangerous opponent for any enemy. It was created to make the country's defense industry stronger and maybe sell weapons to other countries as Japan changes how it defends itself. In October 2020, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries was chosen to lead the development. The FX is designed to be hard to detect by radar. It has air ducts that twist and an internal weapons bay to reduce its radar reflection. Electromagnetic wave absorbers, made of carbon-based material, are used on air ducts and engines to absorb radar waves, making them harder to spot. Tests showed that this could cut the radar detection range in half. The FX also uses metamaterials, made of different materials, to reflect radio waves. These materials are applied to the pulsar-Doppler system to control radio wave reflection. To avoid being noticed by radar, the FX mostly relies on passive detection. Its radar emissions are managed to lower the chance of being detected by counter-radar systems. The FX uses plasma stealth antenna technology to change how radio waves bounce off it. This antenna creates temporary plasma with electrical control, making it hard to detect. When activated, the antenna can also send and receive communication signals. The fighter is powered by two XF91 engines with an efficient afterburner thrust of 16,500 kilograms per force. Interestingly, it is twice the thrust of the renowned American F-35. In the early stages of development, they planned on making use of XF9 engines to power up the jet. By 2018, they officially stated that their level for the prototype engine was 11 tons or more in military thrust and 15 tons or more with afterburner. The XF9 engine is designed to be flexible, which allows for different thrust levels depending on the need. The target maximum thrust for the future fighter engine program is 20 tons, which is about 196 kilonewtons or 44,000 pounds per force. The engine has a high combustion temperature of 1,800 degrees Celsius and is slim compared to its power, with the engine inlet being about 30% smaller than the General Electric F-110 that was used in the F-2. The slim design is necessary to accommodate several internal weapons, which in turn improves its stealthy nature. This engine has a substantial electrical power output of 1/8 kilowatts, and this provides a total of 360 kilowatts from both engines. The high input generation is important for powering the fighter's advanced avionics and equipment. The engine also features three-dimensional thrust vector nozzles that allow the aircraft to be very maneuverable and, in turn, enhance its stealth capability. The thrust vector nozzle can deflect thrust up to 20 degrees in all directions. In December 2021, Japan signed an agreement with the United Kingdom to collaborate on developing and designing the sixth-generation engine. The joint efforts involved engine manufacturer Rolls-Royce and IHI. A viability study has been going on, and the Italian manufacturer Avio Aero joined as a partner in the development of the engine. Later on, efforts for the collaboration were set to begin in Japan's next financial year, starting on April 1, 2020. The possibility of equipping the aircraft with engines that have a variable thrust vector is also being considered, and this would make the Japanese fighter super maneuverable. However, the ability to generate 180 kilowatts of electricity to be used for combat laser or electromagnetic weapons is more interesting because it will burn out the enemy's electronics at a distance of up to 8 miles. The fighter also has quick suspension points for tactical weapons, like guided hypersonic missiles or nuclear missiles. In addition to the intriguing features of the fighter, the Mitsubishi F-3 has received heavy-duty onboard equipment. First, the aircraft would be controlled by a technologically advanced interface that would help optimize data flow and simplify piloting and combat missions. The aircraft's body acts not only as a laser antenna, but also generates electronic interference. It also has an ultra-fast system for processing and transmitting data from all surveillance and guidance systems, from powerful ground-based radars to advanced airborne gunners. Now, here's the cherry on the cake. Japan is planning to utilize unmanned combat drones that can work with the F-3. These drones, which are referred to as combat support unmanned aircraft, are quite similar to other projects like the Kratos XQ-58 Valkyrie or the Boeing Air Power Teaming System. In this setup, the drone is meant to act as a helpful partner for the main aircraft. There are two types of drones: the one that carries a sensor and looks for a target, and the one that fires weapons and whose main function is to protect the main fighter from incoming missiles. Both versions would be designed to have the same design. Also, the plan is to have the drones fully developed and operational by 2030. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.